Hello everyone, it is Saturday, November 2nd, 2024. Very nice day. It's about 75 degrees right now and looking like a high of about 82, 83, so very warm for November. I'm going to do a little taste test on 3 different mandarins that I'm growing in the ground. But before I did, I thought I'd highlight the state of 2 of the trees that I'm growing here. First one is Keraji, and it is a very robust tree. I planted in 2018, I believe it was. It was hit pretty hard in the Christmas freeze of 22, but as you can tell, it rebounded very quickly and fully. And this year it has made a enormous amount of fruit. I'll highlight some of it. Just starting to color up, and by the end of November, it will be fully colored. They're ready to eat now, and they will improve and get sweeter and sweeter as time goes by. If they don't get frozen, they'll hang on the tree till about February and still be very good to eat. So Keraji is a nice one. I've been growing this particular variety since about 1996, and it's always been a favorite of mine and my children. Next to it is Kishu, and Kishu is a little more tender, or a good bit more tender than Keraji. It was severely hit by the freeze a couple years ago, but as you can also see, it came back very well and produced a lot of fruit this year. And in contrast to Keraji, you can see that the fruit of Kishu basically fully colored at this point, and they will continue to sweeten. I would say they hit their peak around Thanksgiving, and they usually don't last any longer than that. So I can't really say how long they'll hang on the tree, because they just usually don't hang that long. They're just wonderful. And so now we'll head over to the table and do a little taste test on our fruit. I apologize for the time it's taking. I'm not very good at this editing thing, so just doing a live shot basically. So I've prepared some fruit for us to try. I've got the UGA Changsha, which I'm growing at my house, and then I've got 2 each of Kishu and Keraji. So here's the Changsha, the UGA Changsha, and as you can tell, it's about the same size as Kishu and Keraji. They do tend to run a lot smaller than typical, I think largely because they are pretty much seedless. Behind it is Kishu, and in the very back is Keraji. So very comparable in size. Changsha and Keraji tend to ripen earliest, and Kishu ripens a little bit later, at least not much, but they're all fall blooming. I'm sorry, not fall blooming, but fall ripening. And from where I live in Zone 8, I think it's important to plant varieties that do ripen at least before Christmas, because we typically get a hard freeze right around Christmas, or maybe a little after that. Most of our real cold weather comes in January. If it doesn't go much below 25, citrus fruit will hang pretty well. They're surprisingly resilient to cold. It has to get below about 25 to freeze them off, and some of the larger fruit will even handle low 20s without any trouble. So it's a little bit of misleading when you hear that the citrus fruit will freeze off at 32 degrees. That just doesn't happen. It has to be a hard freeze, at least 28 or below, probably more like 25, and at least a duration of 6 to 7 hours before you start losing the fruit. Okay, so we'll start by the Changsha. This is, normally Changsha is very seedy, but as you can see, I cut this one open already. This is the irradiated Changsha from UGA, and it is beautifully colored inside. It does have the typical Changsha skunky kind of smell to the peel, which is a kind of suggests that there may be some Ichang pepita in there, but nobody really knows. When you look at this, it is definitely a vast improvement over the original, because for one thing, it just doesn't have any seeds. A typical Changsha would have 25 or 30 seeds. So I'll try to dig out a little bit and get a little taste of it. I've been growing these for a long time, but it's a really good mandarin flavor. Not the best, but certainly for a dooryard, it can't be beat. It's very hardy, very fruitful, And the fact that it has low seed is definitely an improvement. I don't know if it would ever be a commercial variety because things like Kishu and Satsuma are really much more superior, but for something that you can grow in your yard and enjoy, it's a really good choice, I think. So behind it, we have Kishu. And as you can see, Kishu is got a little bit of a piriform shape. It typically has a slight neck. It's probably one of the parents of Satsuma, combined with Kanubo, I think it is. Kanubo, I believe that's the name of it. But Kishu is a purported parent of Satsuma. It's less hardy than Satsuma, but I've never found a seed ever in any Kishu. And here you can see this one certainly fits the bill. Totally seedless, completely, it's slip skin. The peel just comes right off, and it's just absolutely delicious. Totally edible right now. Has a wonderful tangerine smell that you would expect. When I smell it, I smell Christmas morning. That's what I think of. And it's just a beautiful, wonderful smell and taste. Can't be beat. It's a wonderful fruit. A little bit lighter colored than changsha, but certainly a beautiful fruit and delicious. And finally, we have Keraji. Keraji is a little more oblate with definitely a depressed end, very distinctive. You can see that these are just starting to color. They will turn bright yellow, and then when they're overripe, they will get almost as orange as a Kishu. Not quite, but they will turn orange after a while. But when they're first ripe, they are yellow, and in Texas, they're called the lemonade tangerine because they really do taste like lemonade. Not like lemons, but lemonade. And Keraji tends to vary. Some of the fruit are quite small. Some of them are almost as large as Satsumas. This is kind of a typical fruit. And they also vary in seediness. Some are just loaded with seeds. Some are completely seedless. And it doesn't seem to be any kind of pattern in terms of year to year or even fruit to fruit. They'll just vary. I don't really know why. Okay, here's the interior of Keraji. You see it's got some seeds in it. Does have that nice yellow interior, and right now it's just absolutely delicious. Has a nice lemonade flavor, and just a wonderful fruit. Keraji, of the three, I would say Keraji and the changsha are the hardiest. Kishu is probably the least hardy mandarin that I can even hope to grow. It seems to suffer probably below 15, anywhere above 15 to 20, somewhere in that range is pretty good to go. I did not protect mine last year, and we dropped to about 16 or 17 and didn't have any damage. But it wasn't cold too long, and it was a fairly short duration. And of course, duration is almost as important as the lowest temperature. So all three of these, like I said, I've been growing changsha since at least 2000. Kishu is a fairly new one for me. I bought that in 2018. And then Keraji I've been growing for many, many years. One of the first citrus I ever bought before I really even knew what it was. But I would absolutely recommend all three of these to anyone who wants to grow cold hardy citrus in Zone 8. The Kishu is a fairly small tree and not hard to protect. Keraji, if you live in a marginal climate, it's a very robust tree. It wants to get very large. You would have to prune it back pretty aggressively if you had to protect it, because as you can see, mine, I'll show it again. As you can see, mine is about 6 years old, and it's been hit back hard once, and it is already, probably 10 or 12 feet tall. You can see it behind the car right there. And so it's quite a large tree, and pretty impressive, I think, for growing in Zone 8. And most people would be surprised to see a citrus tree of that size growing in this climate. The Kishu next to it, as you can kind of see, is much smaller. It could be reasonably maintained at a smaller size and still produce a good amount of fruit. I've never seen one that was just really a huge tree. But as I said, Keraji really wants to be large. So that is our little taste test today and a quick scan around the garden. And we'll be doing more as the season progresses. So thanks for tuning in. I hope everybody has a great day and God bless.